In today's Thailand News Today, the government is at least now talking about lifting the mandatory quarantine. The first COVID vaccines will start in Thailand next Monday, and protesters change gears and go after alleged corruption in the Thai police force. Let's get started. Thai PM Prayut Chan-o-cha says the government will now consider waiving the mandatory 14-day quarantine for tourists with proof of a COVID-19 vaccination. For months now, the government has stuck to its stance that vaccinated foreign arrivals would still need to be quarantined, given that it's too early to say if vaccines do indeed prevent transmission. But with industry leaders warning that the economy is on the brink of collapse, the only hope appears to be reviving the tourism sector, which is a major economic contributor prior to COVID-19. Even the Thai Central Bank says the uncertainty facing the tourism sector is a major threat to medium-term economic growth. The bank governor says it would be very difficult for the economy to recover to pre-pandemic levels without the return of international tourism. Tourism officials have been pushing for Thailand to introduce a vaccine passport policy that would allow tourists to return from countries where mass vaccination programs are now underway. Meanwhile, Thailand took delivery of its first doses of COVID-19 vaccines today with the arrival of doses of the Chinese Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines. A Thai Airways international plane carrying the vaccine from Beijing landed at the airport at 10:05 this morning. The shipments included 2 million doses valued at around 1.2 billion baht, which the government ordered from Sinovac Life Sciences of China. Those 200,000 doses will be stored and checked in a warehouse until Friday. The national inoculation program is expected to get underway next week with frontline medical workers and other vulnerable groups first in the queue. The AstraZeneca vaccine will also be manufactured locally by Siam Bioscience, with production expected to begin in June. The government says vaccines from other manufacturers may also be registered for use in the kingdom, with private hospitals allowed to administer them. The Prime Minister says a number of other manufacturers have expressed interest in having their vaccines approved for use in Thailand. He said that many companies have shown interest to register, but their documents are not completed yet. It is good that we will have more vaccines than the 65 million doses planned by the government right now. The CCSA says 4 of Thailand's major tourism destinations are to be prioritized in the distribution of vaccines. They are Phuket, Chonburi, Chiang Mai, and Surat Thani. In addition, a further 9 provinces with significant infection numbers are being prioritized in the rollout of the first vaccine doses. 70,000 doses will go to the hard-hit highest control area of Samut Sakhon, where Thailand's second outbreak cluster was first detected on December the 20th of last year. 8,000 doses are being set aside for medical officials in the central province, along with 6,000 for frontline healthcare workers, 46,000 doses for seriously ill patients, and 10,000 doses for migrant workers and local residents. Another 105,000 doses will be distributed to similar groups in Bangkok in the central provinces of Pathum Thani, Nonthaburi, Nakhon Pathom, Samut Songkhram, and Samut Prakan, as well as in the western province of Ratchaburi and the Mae district of Tak. 14,700 doses will be sent to 4 major tourist destinations, with 4,700 going to the eastern province of Chonburi, 4,000 to Phuket, 3,500 to the northern province of Chiang Mai, and 2,500 going to the island of Samui in Surat Thani province. The pro-democracy group Ratsadon held a rally in Bangkok late yesterday, this time with their sights set on Thailand's police force and the alleged corrupt practices that are involved in the promotion system. The system in question, where officials have to pay bribes to senior figures, allegedly including senior politicians, was highlighted in a debate in Parliament last week. Activists met at the Rajprasong intersection in the capital around 5 p.m. and stayed there for an hour. But many of the speakers were new faces, with some of the more prominent leaders notably absent, currently languishing in police custody. Now, those who addressed the crowd called on, quote, honest police officers to join them in the fight for justice as they slammed the widespread nepotism and corruption that is allegedly rife in the Thai police. The protesters then marched to the nearby headquarters of the Royal Thai Police and sat on the street outside while speeches continued. At one point during the sit-down, an activist read out a letter which the group says was written by a police officer and addressed to his colleagues. In it, the officer called on his colleagues to decide if they are serving the people or those in power and asked them if they think they've been fairly treated by their bosses or used for political purposes. Airline Thai Vietjet has announced the flight resumption of its domestic cross-regional service between Phuket and Chiang Rai in response to the increasing travel demand after the government began relaxing travel measures around the country. The airline will resume the service for 4 round-trip flights a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, starting from this Friday. The airline also announced the resumption of other domestic cross-regional services, including the flight between Hat Yai and Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai and Nakhon Si Thammarat from the 19th of March of this year onwards. Now, the airline has also launched a special promotion called Welcome Back to the Sky, offering special fares from just 99 baht, that's not including taxes, fees, surcharges, and add-ons, for Thai Vietjet's flights between Phuket to Chiang Rai and any flights to and from Suvarnabhumi Airport. Other domestic carriers are also starting to ramp up the resumption of flights as well. This weekend, being a long weekend, has seen increased bookings for the sector. And that's all we got for the news, but we've also got a very special report about the latest in the Thai Airways saga, all on our YouTube channel, so be sure to head on over. Meanwhile, you're up to date on the Thaiger. สวัสดีครับ